It is time to answer the most difficult question in all of video games. Xbox versus PlayStation. Game Pass versus PS Plus. Which is objectively better? Today, I'm going to dive deep and look at the hundreds of games, the different tiers, the complete selection, and truly determine which is the best of the best. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. Please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's start things off with just the pure honest facts. Both of these services are freaking fantastic. Whether you have a PlayStation 4, a PlayStation 5, an Xbox, a Series X, or just Game Pass on PC, there is a lot of very good ways to game right now, and I do think that these subscription services have added an interesting twist to video games. The fact that both of these exist, the fact that you can just sit down and scroll through pages and pages and pages of amazing games, some you've heard of, some you haven't, and just play any of them, is a very nice time to be alive. But which one is better? Let's begin by talking about the sheer size of their libraries and additionally the cost. Now, PlayStation Plus has this new revamp that's just gone on, where now if you want to get their different styles of game, there's stuff you can download, games like Miles Morales or Assassin's Creed, all the Ubisoft games. These cost $100 a year to get access to everything on the PlayStation Plus service. This is called PS Plus Extra. Now, the other tier of it is PlayStation Plus Premium. That is $120 a year, and that gives you access to not just new games, but also a bunch of retro stuff. Going back to PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, even some PSP stuff is on there. Now, to me, I think that this is a very good service. It totals over 700 games on this service if you get the highest tier, but $120 a year, that is a very steep price. Now, Xbox, what Game Pass has right now is roughly 300 games for about $120 a year. Slightly less, slightly more depending on the tier you're deciding to play on. Now, both of these do have very good games, but in this case, I like PlayStation Plus and Xbox for very different reasons. Let's face it, the major reason that people predominantly get Game Pass is not for the retro stuff, it's for the new stuff. The major thing that Microsoft provides that Sony does not is day and date releases. Xbox has like over 20 major studios working for them now. Everything from Bethesda to Arcane to random tiny studios that I constantly forget the name of. Well, all of these people, whenever their games are finished, get released inside of Game Pass the second that they're done. So that means everything from Halo Infinite to the new Forza to even games in the future like Elder Scrolls 6 whenever it comes out, Diablo 4, which I am blown my mind. I'm so excited for it. That's coming to Xbox Game Pass. Whereas PlayStation Plus still is going to charge you individually for the new games that are released. And it does seem like Sony is kind of slow to even add games to their own subscription service. Like, obviously, Horizon Forbidden West, that just came out a couple months ago. I wouldn't expect that to be in there. Or something like Gran Turismo 7. Obviously, that's not in there yet. But it does kind of suck. Where the heck is Last of Us Part 2? That came out 2 years ago. Why isn't that in the service? The major appeal of PlayStation Plus Premium, the highest tier of it though, is those retro games. They actually have some super old school, incredibly good stuff. Obviously, they have the redone versions they've done of Final Fantasy VII, the PlayStation 4 version. They have that in there. This actually looks great. It's got built-in cheat codes, it's got trophies, it's got achievements. Now, as a trophy hunter, my biggest appeal to these classic games that PlayStation has done is the fact that when I'm playing something dumb like Hot Shots Golf, I've never played this before. I've actually been tinkering with this for the first time ever. The game is ridiculously fun. It's just so quirky, and you get trophies. There's actually a platinum that you can unlock. Same with something like Siphon Filter or Mr. Driller. I find that to be incredibly awesome. Now, with both of these catalogs, there is additionally a caveat. While PlayStation Plus Premium does have 700 games, technically a couple hundred of those are streamed. they cannot be downloaded. Pretty much everything for the PlayStation 3 is unable to be installed. Instead, you have to play it from the cloud. And let's just face it, a lot of people do not have internet fast enough to really do that. So even though it has 700 games, it's really closer to about 450. Whereas Xbox, all 300 of the games on Game Pass can be installed, they can be played. Now, I do think it's worthy to acknowledge that there is also a lot of filler in both of their catalogs. I do like that there is so many big AAA experiences inside of PlayStation Plus Premium and Game Pass, but there is also some utter trash. Like straight up, freaking Xbox Game Pass has Crackdown 3, which I think is still one of the worst games I've ever played, and PlayStation Premium has freaking Balan Wonderworld. Like, My point here is the fact that raw numbers do not fully explain the story of what makes these great. As more of a retro gamer, somebody that does enjoy playing old school stuff in my free time when I'm not reviewing the latest and greatest games, I do prefer PlayStation Plus Premium because of that trophy support. I think that the games they've managed to put on there look and play fantastic. Whereas Xbox, even though they have a couple sporadic games from the original Xbox on the service, most are not on there, most are never going to be on there. But let's talk about the future of both of these services, because as they currently stand, I do think both are great. I'm somebody that is slightly inclined towards PlayStation, but ever since Xbox Game Pass came out, I've had it pretty much nonstop. I've never canceled my subscription, I've had it forever. And I guess what's kind of interesting to me is that I still think that the best part of these subscription services is that they increase what they call discoverability. It is scientifically proven that you are more likely to try a game outside your comfort zone if you already have paid for it. If it's free on a subscription service, if it's just like Netflix and you can click it and randomly play it on a whim, you're more likely to give it a shot. Whether that is something like Outriders or a weird platformer or a goofy JRPG where girls are trying to bust out boobas or spank each other, you're going to be more open-minded if it's already on the service. I think that's great, but I'm still most curious about what's coming in the future to these different things. Right now, I do think that both Xbox and PlayStation, I wish they were a bit more transparent. Like right now with this new version of PlayStation Plus Premium, I paid the $120, which is still just so freaking expensive for an entire year of the service, and I'm going to be using it. In fact, I've been using it literally every day. But my thing is that we still don't know how many PlayStation 1 games are going to be coming to the service. How many PlayStation 2 games are going to be coming to the service? Is it going to be first party or third party? Is it even legally possible to put Silent Hill 1 on the service? When it comes to Xbox Game Pass, they are just so focused on the latest and greatest experiences. I am glad that all the big crazy DLC for something like, I don't know, Flight Simulator is going straight on there. Gears of War 5, all these big photorealistic games are playable on my Xbox Series X through Game Pass, but I wish that these companies would be a bit more like clear. Give us a roadmap. Even like a vague number, to me, does inspire me. Perhaps I'm just like a freaking lemming who enjoys big number go up, but my whole thing is that I wish that Sony would come out and say, hey, we have an idea for 100 class. I wish Sony would come out and just say something like, we have 100 classic PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 games coming to the service within the next 3 months. Or I wish Xbox would come out and say, hey, here are the exact day and date third-party and first-party games coming to Game Pass. Sometimes these companies just feel like they're still constantly signing the contracts. Like, what is it? Last year, there were times where games were coming out in a couple weeks and randomly Microsoft would be like, oh yeah, that's coming to Game Pass. These companies just constantly feel like they're flying by the seat of their pants with what are seemingly billion-dollar subscription services. As a gamer, when you're getting these services, I do feel like they get better with time, but games also come and go. One of the weirdest aspects of Game Pass and PlayStation Plus is that these games are not permanent. If the studio goes out of business or some sort of contractual obligation falls through, the games disappear. There are games already that have been taken off Game Pass or PlayStation, and to me, it just is weird that you can play a game for a bit, you can love it for a bit, but it's not really permanent in the grand scheme of things, even if you are paying for it permanently. As it stands, I have to say that right now, I am personally having way more fun with PlayStation Plus Premium. I am enjoying this retro catalog. It's cool to play old God of War games or discover interesting hidden gems I previously missed. But in the long term, I do think that I'm going to get much more value out of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate just keeps giving me big AAA $60 games for free, so to speak. You know, I mean, Starfield's great, but the fact that I'm going to get Starfield on Game Pass instantly makes it more appealing. I'm excited for the future of PlayStation, but every single game is going to cost you a big old fat $70 if you want to play the latest and greatest from Sony Studios. There is a lot of give and take. There is a yin and yang. It is about what you want. But as it stands, if you have a PlayStation or if you have an Xbox, I do think these services are worth it. I don't think that either of these is a ripoff or a scam. I think they're both good. But it just comes down to your personal tastes, which I want to hear about. In the comments down below, please tell me which games you're enjoying most, which games you're hating, which games are your flavor of the month. But please also do me a favor, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. All right, I literally have to get in a flight right now. I'm going to Philadelphia. See you at Too Many Games. If you're going in Philadelphia, if you live up north, see you at Too Many Games. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.